Kia ora, good evening. What does the 2015 budget mean to Canterbury? Well, it depends on who you are, but while the effects of yesterday's announcement settle in, Finance Minister Bill English was in town to explain.
It's been touted by many as not doing much for business and robbing Peter to pay Paul for those who need support the most. And today, Finance Minister Bill English visited Christchurch doing the rounds to espouse its benefits. Local job growth was his focus.
There's quite strong job growth over the last 3 or 4 years and projected over the next 3 or 4 years. What the main complaint we get from small businesses is that people who have been on a benefit aren't work ready. And so we will be working more closely with businesses to ensure that people coming off welfare are a bit more work ready and also to help sustain them in jobs.
The budget's effect on Canterbury's population is broadly not dissimilar to the rest of New Zealand, though with a few differences. Earthquake recovery got another hand up, with $27 million more being injected into Sarah's coffers, rising to $107.8 million over the next 4 years. These funds will go into land clearances to make way for anchor projects in preparation of land before construction begins. But 4 years on from the quakes, given cost-sharing disagreements, cost blowouts and lengthy delays, many are arguing the need for the anchor projects at all. The government expects to have contributed more than $16 billion by 2019 to the $40 billion needed for the rebuild.
With me now is Wareen Head from headliner.co.nz. Wareen, thank you so much for joining me.
Pleasure.
As I just said, lots of things in the budget, but in terms of Canterbury, job-wise, what's in there for jobs in Canterbury?
Well, the biggest injection is $100 million into the rebuild, and that'll keep the big projects ticking along on their timetable, slightly delayed timetable as it is. So it's important that people know they're going to occur and those jobs will spin out of that. We haven't hit the top yet of the jobs demand. We haven't hit the top anywhere near in terms of the big projects. We are a little bit off the peak at the moment in terms of the repairs and infrastructure side, but in terms of downtown, the big projects, a long way to go.
So is that a wee bit concerning, do you reckon?
Not really. I think in the space of things, these things need to be planned correctly. So a lot of that will be going into actually getting the specifications correct. That $100 million will go quite quickly. Peter Townsend used to say that we spend $100 million a day here. I want to put that into context too, because somebody said, well, this deficit, it's a real problem, $170 million deficit. Look, we spent $200 million in 2 days in Christchurch in the rebuild. Most people don't know a deficit if they fell over one, and they think primarily about their hip pocket or their purse, I think.
Absolutely. Let's move on now to GST. Now, obviously, that has a lot to do with New Zealand, but what does it mean for Canterbury?
Well, the GST thing that was supposedly going to be there was a GST tax on online sales under $400. It hasn't occurred. The Australian federal budget a few days back has addressed this. So I guess the New Zealand government is now looking to see how Canberra gets on in this respect. So it hasn't gone away. There is a study underway on it. All the retailers are hanging out for it because they think they're affected by it. But look, in the last week, I've heard several big retailers talking about it, Briscoe's, Warehouse and others. And some of them now have got this policy called click and collect. So you click online, you look at the product there, you buy it online, and then you click it at the store. You collect it at the store.
Yeah.
So it's not really affecting people as much as they thought.
Absolutely. Let's move on now to the farming sector. Obviously, a big chunk to play in Canterbury. What's in the budget for that?
Well, the farming sector is pretty much just straight lining, I think, in terms of assistance. There are a lot of people saying the budget was bland and benign. Dairying is, of course, in this cyclical decline, and there's nothing really coming through for those guys by way of anything, unless you tag it back to the R&D spend, which is up, and that, of course, is partly agricultural in our city, with a university here that specialises in that, and a lot of other institutes in that area. But really, they're trying to retilt the balance in this budget, get the technology sector moving as well.
Absolutely. And now the innovation sector as well. What was in it for that?
Well, the innovation sector is a big job creator for this place, and I think that's where the R&D spend will come. The bigger issue for me is the casualisation of retail and the effect of the policy package on hardship families. Will that work? I'm not so sure about that. Not so sure that the jobs are there in the casualised area.
Absolutely. What did you think of the budget overall?
Somebody described it, one of the banking economists, I think it was Cameron Baggery from the ANZ Bank, he said the super tanker is still on course, boys. And of course what everybody's now doing is looking through to the other side. This deficit we started at the beginning to talk about will be gone in 2 years. By 2019, you won't even know it happened.
Cool. And what would you give the budget out of 10 this year?
On vision, I'd say this is pretty much a sort of still corrected type budget, so I'd say about 5. On economy management, about 9.
Awesome, fantastic. That's Wareen Head from headliner.co.nz. Thank you so much for coming in. Really appreciate it.